Good evening, members. Our chief guest, Mr. Arun Alagappan, Executive Chairman, Mrs. Coromandel International Limited, Chennai. My colleagues, past presidents, members of Governing Council, special invitees, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the press. A very good evening to all of you. On behalf of the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Coimbatore, and on all your behalf, I have immense pleasure to extend a warm welcome to our chief guest, Mr. Arun Alagappan, Executive Chairman, Mrs. Coromandel International Limited, Chennai, who has made it possible to be here only to meet our members during the first council meeting of our chamber for the year 2024-26. On all your behalf, I thank him for your August present, Mr. Arun. For information of chief guests, I would like to mention a few words about our chamber. The Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, founded in 1929 by Shri R.K. Chetty, the first Union Finance Minister of Independent India, and is serving the cause of trade, industry and service sector in this region for the last 96 years. Our chamber has around 1,500 members, including 275 life members and 85 member associations consisting of textiles, engineering, automobiles, jewellery, pump manufacturers, consumable items, garments, healthcare, education institutions and IT. Our chamber plays a significant role in the economic development of this region. Chamber always represents the problem of not only trade and industry, but also the common man and general public. We have a long-standing relationship with South India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and now it is quite appropriate to have our chief guest is the president there. In fact, he is arranged the meeting with the French Council General, who is coming here day after. In the past, we had the privilege of Mr. K.S.K. Hajar Sharif, who visited our chamber and addressed our members when he was president of SIPI. Chamber of Commerce have always played a vital role for the development of economy of the particular region, state and district. Likewise, our chamber is also very much concerned and always represents the grievances of trade and industry in general and for its members in particular. We can jointly work with your Southern India Chamber of Commerce for making any major representations for the benefit of trade, industry and common man in Tamil Nadu. Our members are mainly responsible for Coimbatore's development. Since Coimbatore is developed without any public sector organization and only the private sector is taking the lead for any growth. All these factors are well known to Mr. Arun Alagappan, who is also from a leading industrial group, and they have a lot of connections with Coimbatore district. In fact, he is Coimbatore Mapla. All these, he will tell us more about his experience and will share his thoughts with us. Now it is my pleasant duty to introduce our chief guest to this August gathering. Mr. Arun Alagappan is the Executive Chairman of Coromandel International Limited. He is the President of South India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Chennai. A commerce graduate from the University of Madras and has completed the Owner President Management Program from Harvard Business School at Boston, USA. He started his career with GE Capital Services India, joined the Murugappa Group in Paribas, part of EID Pari India Limited. He has served Tube Investments India Limited, head of DS Cycles. He was also heading Cholamandalam Finance till last year, and now he is taken over as Executive Chairman of Coromandel International. Prior to joining Coromandel International, he holds directorship in various other companies, including our Coimbatore-based LMW and then Thirumalai Chemicals Limited. With these few words, I once again welcome our chief guest and all of you for this meeting. Thank you. I would like now to adorn a shawl on our chief guest. Request Mr. Arun to address the gathering. I'd like to recognize presence of Mr. Vinod Solomon, the Secretary of. Is not it?
Very good evening to everyone, and I thank you all for the very warm welcome this evening. Respected President Shri Rajesh, Vice Presidents Shri Raj, Shri Natarajan, and Shri Anamre, office bearers and members of the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Coimbatore. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to each and every one of you. So basically, I'm really happy to be here because I mean, very little needs to be said. I think Coimbatore is a kind of hub of industry itself. While we all come from Chennai, I think there's much more action that happens in Coimbatore, and the chamber, like Mr. Lund said, was founded by Mr. Shanmugan Shetty when the first Finance Minister of Independent India. And basically, I think the chamber itself, as I understand, has been a vital cog to the Coimbatore's growth story. So I'm very happy to be here. And Coimbatore, my association has been with, as far as industry is concerned, has been I've been a director with the LMW, and I kind of see the kind of work that I mean we talk about it all the time and see the kind of work that is done in Coimbatore. I think Coimbatore is a very big area for precision engineering, for textiles, for automotive components, and basically has been driving growth and innovation in the country itself. In the recent years, I see that, and it's significant in terms of IT and as a technology hub too, that is attracting a lot of top talent in Coimbatore itself. And Coimbatore on the other side, on the medical side, as well as education, is done and I mean kind of has done great work. And Coimbatore boasts of impressive infrastructure and connectivity, linking it seamlessly with major markets across India and the globe. I think it's ranked amongst India's top 10 cities for ease of doing business. I think Coimbatore stands as a beacon of industrial excellence, innovation, and opportunity. So I think from my side, I think big appreciation to all of you for all the incredible work being done in Coimbatore and to ICCI for all the work being done here. Congratulations to all of you. So basically what I thought is I just share a few things from my side. So just to give a thing, I'm also kind of a businessman, like I keep saying that because I think Coimbatore has got many more entrepreneurs. We are, I mean, as far as at least I'm concerned, I'm fourth generation in business. So which is, I don't consider myself in terms of starting businesses, but I think the important thing is to even keep those businesses going requires some amount of things. So I've been through different things. So I just, put down a few things and then I'll just talk about it. I said, just to briefly touch upon things, I started my career in a company in the group called Parryware, which is a sanitary ware company. And the good thing is they keep moving us into different things in our group, and we've got different things to do. The group has got about 29 businesses. Luckily, they don't send us to all those businesses, but we go to some of them. And I went to the cycle business from Parryware, literally. So that was something, and that was the time I started, electric scooters in 2010. Of course, they also told me I have to shut it down quickly because not making any money. So I've seen both sides of, kind of doing something and also shutting down things, because the next thing is some things are successful, some things don't be successful, but the thing is to keep trying and doing things. The current business I run, I've been here for 4 or 5 years, and it's a fertilizer business. And really speaking, I didn't know what I'll come and do here because I was doing other things. But there's so much of opportunity in the agriculture business, and I was just kind of trying to see the kind of things that are happening in the agriculture business itself, which lend itself to, like I said, what can fertilizer business do in in things like this. But then look at AI is happening in agriculture, so things like that are happening in agriculture. You kind of today see the amount of agri startups that have come and the kind of work that even agri startups are doing. I think it's a lot of work that happens. So so through my career, I just said, I just want to share it with you. We've let good people go. We've let good businesses sometimes go. Sometimes, I keep saying, we let a company called Parryware. I was with Parryware. Finally, the group decided to exit it. Sometimes they make good decisions. Sometimes decisions, I think, Parryware is a very good and thriving business, and good luck to them. But I think that was a good business that we let go. So I'm saying, as a businessman, we kind of take, things that it comes and goes. So basically, I just wanted to say that I understand, and you and I identify myself as part of a larger community of businessmen, of which you and I are all stakeholders. And then going to the next thing, I think, you talk to anybody kind of thing. Today, India is today in a kind of a sweet spot in terms of the global economic arena. I think as an Indian businessman, we all would say that we are fortunate to be part of a strong and growing economy. If you take a look at our global counterparts versus fighting inflation and high interest costs, liquidity concerns and a recovering GDP. Post-COVID, China is still showing weak recovery with disruptions in global supply chain and the growth being downgraded to sub 5%. With a focus on domestic consumption, Germany, Europe's largest economy, is facing sluggish recovery, increasing prices, energy prices, and highest inflation in about 25 years. UK economy is facing serious challenges, high inflation, high energy bills, and a weaker pound. Amidst all these global gloom, India has been the only large economy globally showing encouraging economic indicators, offering both scale and growth. India is poised to grow at about 6 to 8% and is set to benefit from the shifts in manufacturing, and global supply chain driven by geopolitical considerations, which is the China plus one. I think all of us seem to be benefiting. I think it will go down even to, finally, it comes down even to the MSMEs and everybody else. This global, I mean, this China plus one, we are seeing it everywhere. In fact, in our business too, in terms of the fertilizer business, maybe not in the fertilizers, but in the pesticide business, we are in pesticide also. A lot of the molecules which are being made in, China, now people are saying we should do China plus one. We are getting a lot of interest with that, and that way we are kind of growing, that as well. So it is in our best interest to identify and understand these subtle shifts in the economy paradigm to be ahead of the curve and invest in ensuring we are building capabilities in line with upcoming opportunities that are there. And sure, a lot of them are kind of, happening. But, more so coming closer to, Coimbatore, I think Coimbatore is dominated by the MSME sector, and that is kind of, critical to India's growth story itself. If you look at nearly 30% of India's GDP, comes from the MSME contributions, and I think the kind of contribution which Coimbatore has in that itself is, in fact, huge. And MSMEs are accounting to nearly 45% of India's manufacturing output, showing their centrality to industrial growth. Nearly 46% of India's exports are driven by MSMEs, making them crucial for country's global trade presence. And I think MSMEs employ nearly 11 crore individuals, which I think is benefiting the rural and backward regions. So in all, if you look at it, I think the MSMEs also provide inclusive economic opportunities by providing employment, entrepreneurial opportunities across diverse socio-economic groups, thereby promoting inclusive growth. Amidst the large-scale opportunities and upsides, there are still some challenges that need to be overcome in order to ensure sustainable and differentiated success in this situation. If we were to tap into these opportunities, our Coimbatore companies need to embrace, I think I'm saying this, but I'm sure you are doing it, digital transformation to improve efficiency and competitiveness. Policy makers need to remove difficulty in obtaining affordable credit to facilitate expansion and innovation, and focus on development on sustained supply of skilled labor and upskill existing manpower. Also, MSMEs need to find pathways to integrate into global value chains by offering innovative and cost-effective high-quality solutions. While these may sound far-fetched, we are all on the right track. I would urge the ICCI to further drum up the requirements so that the policymakers can favorably bring in changes to benefit our local industrial community and enable them to compete better. So, given the context of the large economic opportunities and inherent challenges faced by MSMEs, I would like to ask ourselves two questions. How to successfully grow our companies, and what should entrepreneurs focus on? Again, this is just some thoughts which I thought we can kind of leave you with, where we see this. So, an approach towards navigating business in the context of high growth and intense competition. I'll use this forum to share a few thoughts, and I shall be happy if this approach in full or in parts to be utilized by members in your respective businesses. I think for running a successful business, three things or pillars are kind of non-negotiable. One is, which all of you seem to have, is on the passion and entrepreneurial spirit from the promoter and senior management. This will set the vision of our companies and our businesses. Having a good team of people, both thinkers and doers, in order to transform the entrepreneur's vision into action. And three, strong processes in order to ensure there are sufficient support, checks and balances are in the system. And to balance these pillars, adoption of technology to enable seamless execution and conduct of business, I think, is paramount. So, while a lot can be said, I think the three key things on the passionate leadership is about taking risk and having resilience. No entrepreneurial effort is possible without an element of risk. Calculated risk, not blind risk, is what differentiates an entrepreneur. It helps to define explicitly the risk appetite and capacity of us, so that we don't go overboard and underplay our risk appetite. I think we should have a long-term vision versus short-term gains. and then that's something that we should do. As far as a group that we are concerned, and several other business houses of the country have managed to stay relevant and successful over a long period of time by taking strategic and calculated bets and having a vision for the future. I think that's important. And the third, of course, is business innovation and continuous learning. I think this is another important factor that plays out in this. So, well thought out risky decisions can give highest rewards. Sticking to the first pillar, passion, we spoke about risk taking and resilience. From the personal experience, I can tell you the well thought out, though risky decisions have the highest rewards to the Murugappa group. There are two things that I can kind of say. We took over a company called CG Power about 4 years ago, and it was a very risky decision for the group. But I think both the management, I think finally it's quality management. We went in for this because I think one thing we were sure about was the assets in the company. I think they were doing very well. CG Power, as far as transformers were concerned, as far as other things were concerned, were doing very well. And one can see on the right kind of what kind of valuation that company was literally 4 years ago when we took over the company, when the group took over the company. I think they took over a valuation of about 600-700 crores. And now, right now, I think latest valuation is about 1,20,000 crores in the 4-year period. That's the kind of risk that we took there. The other one, of course, is Cholamandalam went through a bad phase in 2008-9, and we had a partner called DBS, and they had insisted that we gave credit at that time to the consumer loans, which didn't do well. Then what happened was that we decided, in 2009-10, that we said we'll buy back the shares from DBS. It was a major decision because the entire group had to come together to kind of work on giving a kind of a guarantee to Cholamandalam. But then again, Cholamandalam at that time went down to a valuation which was literally negligible. I remember the share price at that time of Cholamandalam was something hovering at about 23 rupees for a 10 rupee share. Then finally, today, I think if you take a 10 rupee share of Cholamandalam, it holds at about at least now the 2 rupee share is about 1600 rupees. And the company valuation has also gone to about 1,40,000 crores, something like that now. So I think that is something that we decided to kind of do. So those are things that one within the business. I'm trying to talk about something, and even when we take over something, it's important to see whether the assets. I think when our team went, they said, look, the assets the company was built, of course, mismanaged badly. Most of the time, the problem is mismanagement in companies, and that is something that one should be careful about. We did a kind of a recently. We had a kind of workshop and said, look, how much percent and how to kind of invest our monies. And we said, look, our core businesses, I think we should invest about 70%, so that if core business doesn't fire. So in terms of core business for us, it was fertilizer. And enough people say that, enough people told me it's a boring industry, you guys should go out of it. What are you doing more and more in it? Today we are selling, we'll be in the top 3, including government. If you exclude government, private, I think it's between us and Chambal, who are the large players in this industry. But then even if you include government, we'll be the 3rd largest player or 2nd largest player with Chambal after IFCO. So the thing is to say, look, do I spend money and grow other business or thing? But then we said, no, we should, ensure core business is efficiently run. So we did everything to efficiently run core business. And when the generation happens from core business, then we said we'll put 20% on adjacencies and 10% on completely step out, which we've done. So in fact, Coromandel has done, even TI has stepped out and done a lot of things, and so has our other businesses which do. So what we do is we use 10% of the money and say, look, we go completely out of what we're doing, but 70% will go back into investing the core for one, efficiency, second for capacity enhancement, because these are businesses we know, and we shouldn't, just because new things come up, we shouldn't say we are not going to. There was enough people will tell, I'm saying, when I go to Bombay and things, they say, are you guys still going to invest in the fertilizer business? And I keep telling them, look, that's our core. I'm going to grow it. Certainly I'm going to grow it. Because I think India itself needs to, India needs to feed 150 billion people. And that responsibility lies, if you don't have fertilizer, the kind of reduction in life itself will be quite a bit, and that is something that I said, look, we cannot go off, even though it's a highly regulated industry, but it's fine. I think we'll still invest in it because I think it's important, not only for the country, but I think as a company we've done well, so why not invest in something that we've done well. But at the same time, 20% will go into adjacencies. We are investing in our pesticide business. We are investing in businesses like organic and things which are all upcoming businesses, but adjacent to the business we are doing. And 10% we have completely stepped out. We've gone to a drone business and we'll use something like that. And I think we'll keep moving to other things with the 10% that we earn. But it's important that these three things happen. So we should be in core, we should invest in adjacencies, and then this is something that we've kind of seem to be as a group doing as well. So right or wrong, it seems to work for now, and I guess we keep doing it till it works. This is the kind of thing, people is another thing which I keep saying. Without people, it's very difficult to kind of do anything. And whether it's a small shop, whether it's a small company, whether it's a large company, I think most of, and even if it's a farmer. Today the problem I'll tell you is the issue we are facing in terms of having succession in different things. When I was in the cycle business, I just realized one thing, nobody wanted to come back to the cycle business. It was very few next generation people are saying, we'll come back to the cycle business. So then what do we do there? Now you go here, farming. How many people want to come back to farming? Okay, but now with technology, now recently, and I must say this, actually after COVID and more recently in the last 2 years, number of people we are seeing coming back to farming, but using much more kind of tools. And you kind of go to their farms, the kind of AI they're using, the kind of apps they're using, it's just improved drastically, and youngsters are coming back. And so what I'm trying to say is, look, any business, like we must, we've got our own generations to succeed, and we must ensure they are equipped very well to succeed. And if they are not there, then we must ensure that there's some way that we have people to succeed us, and that is what is stopping kind of a lot of the kind of businesses growing. It can be large businesses, it can be small businesses. These are two large examples, but it is the same thing even for small businesses. Cipla is having issues with, even though they are very large and they are having a problem with succession. And on the other side, if you look at the Murdoch business empire, and they are having problem with succession. So it's happening all over, big, small, whatever it is. It's important for us to have a kind of succession. So basically, on this, I think we need to kind of, spend time, document our vision, and basically, in terms of the second pillar, people deep diving into the team aspects needs to be done. In principle of management terms, there is a term called the principal agent problem. The principal agent problem arises when there is conflict of interest between principal, that means a business owner, and an agent who is a manager or an employee who is hired to act on behalf of the company. This issue occurs because the agent may pursue their own personal interests, which may not align with the best interests of the principal. The problem is particularly common in situations where agent has more information and decision-making power, such as in companies where owners rely on managers to run the business. We need to be aware of this risk and ensure that the motivation of the team, from the top leadership to the factory worker, all aligned in a single direction. In my experience, aligning the goals of our people means half the job is done. I think this is something which I think as a group, we concentrate on, is because when you run anything, we are dependent on people. We can't do it ourselves. At the same time, if the vision and we call it the 5 lights, and we drive it in terms of integrity, passion, these are things that we drive, and we drive it through the organization, and it's kind of, it pays back well. So mechanisms which are used, like your performance-based incentives, variable pay, your internal people, career visibility growth, have been helpful for me to basically align with my team towards this common goal. On the third pillar, moving on to the third pillar, which is process, I think anything without a process is dangerous. So most of us drive cars, and these days I'm sure a lot of people who drive very high-end performance cars, especially Coromandel loves cars. So imagine a Ferrari car without brakes and only the powerful engine, we'll be able to drive the Ferrari, and even if we drive, we will be confident enough. Will we be confident enough to drive it at its full potential without the brakes? So no way. So we know that how great a car engine is. Without a braking system, the powerful engine is useless and dangerous. The same applies to companies. So we need strong governance, processes and systems. It looks like speed breakers. Even in my own organization, I keep saying that we are a very bureaucratic organization. We are like the government. In this, even if I want to do something, I feel that there's huge amount of process in the system, and I keep fighting with our own people. But I think it's important for us to, put these systems, and more importantly, follow the systems ourselves. Because it's very easy to say I'll put a system, and then very easy to not to follow the system. But why I find it difficult, I think that has been kind of, helpful for us, and as a group also it's been helpful for us. From simple things to complicated things, there's some system. But once the system is there, we kind of follow it through. So that's something that, which is, I think, quite interesting, and we must do. On the technology and digital initiatives, which are enabling MSMEs to drive efficiencies and unlock a sizable domestic and rapidly expanding export market. I think today, startups such as Zoho offer, affordable cloud suites to help MSMEs with their business management needs, including customer relationship management, customized enterprise resource planning, and human resource management tools. So I think there is enough platforms, enough technology, clear tax, Vyapar, so many things that are kind of coming in. I think we must embrace this. I think 20 years ago, any of these tools, were not there. But I think today, if anybody wants to stay out of the curve, small, big, anything, I think we need to, have these kind of, move to more digital. And even as a company, when I came in here in Coromandel, it's a large company, but I still felt I came from a company. I ran a company called Cholamandalam, which was a finance company, and the kind of digitization that Cholamandalam had. So one way to look at it is, does a fertilizer company need this kind of digitization? So when I came in, the first thing I recruited a chief information officer. And his job was to really redo the entire company's tech architecture. And it doesn't matter. Like he told me, it can be a small company. The guy who I hired, who came from TCS, he was running Voltas, so Voltas is CIO. So the thing is that once he came in, the kind of difference he's brought in actually has added a lot of money to our bottom line. Nearly, I would say that, the contribution, while I know initially I had to spend a lot of money, put it in place. But now I'm recovering more money every year because of the kind of technology that has been put in place. I mean, simple things that he's kind of done. One is on the physical infrastructure, then is on the AI, then is on machine learning. And these things can be for large companies. You can think it's for a large company, but everything scaled down version is available even for a shop. And I've seen some shops. So we run 800 stores. It's actually going to be 1,000 stores in the next 2 months. We run farmer stores. See, this farmer store, when we took over the business, we were kind of doing, the revenue was about, on these stores was about 14 to 1500.
Correct. No, it's
so yeah, 14 to 1500 crores was the revenue. Profit was in single digit, in 9 crore. This I'm telling you 2020. Fast forward 2024, it's gone to 2400 crore revenue. For first few years, I said I will not increase the number of shops. I said, you guys make profit, then we will increase. So last year they made 180 crores profit. Same number of shops. So then I said, now you increase. This year they promised me they do more shops, they make 250 crore profit. And these shops, this is a business that we were not even bothered about. There was money involved, and this has come with a small amount of investment in AI, not only AI in terms of our, machine learning, in terms of what's the center called, man? Digital, the data center.
Digital data center, correct.
So the data center that feeds back to the plants, so to the things as to what to sell, what crop is there. They have kind of gone and digitized the entire shop network. So basically, they have digitized the kind of shop network. And this is literally some shop. It can be one shop. So I had enough shops making loss. right? And after that, today you can see the number of shops that are not loss-making shops anymore. So this is all due to digital kind of thing being done, and it can be done by anybody, and that is the kind of thing which we must kind of do. Uh, so basically, sorry I've taken more time than I think. I just want to sum it up. On the big three pillars: passion, people, processes, with a view on enabling technology. These are the simple kind of things that kind of leave you with, and uh, basically make sure you learn and adapt, think big, and innovate. To quote one of my favorite sayings from former YouTube CEO Susan, life doesn't always present you with the perfect opportunity at the perfect time. Opportunities come when you least expect them or when you're not ready for them. Rarely are opportunities presented to you in the perfect way in a nice little box with a yellow box on top. Opportunities are good ones, they are messy and confusing and hard to recognize. They are risky, they challenge you. So don't wait for the perfect opportunity after you think you're fully prepared. Go for it. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Arun, for sharing your valuable thoughts and insights. It was very, very useful. We should really thank Arun. He's very humble and he was willing to share all his thoughts with us. Anybody's got any questions? He's ready for few questions and interaction. Members, please make use of this opportunity. It's very rare we'll get Arun again into our chamber.
You were saying you focused on the increasing profit, then focus on top number.
First focus on increasing the profit, then focus on the turnover. Could you able to do that? It's a surprising one, because people normally go for top line to up and bottom can be increased later on, but it's a reverse as I felt.
No, so that's, I tell you, there are two examples that I'll kind of tell you. If you don't have the money to if you don't operate efficiently, it is very difficult to grow. Now the problem is, we can go from 800 shops to 1000 shops, make from 9 crores to 11 crores in profit. I'm saying as far as the store is concerned. But even as far as, if you even take my main business, if you take fertilizer business, which is our main business, right? When I came, they gave me enough proposals for top line growth. This was 2020. They gave me enough proposals to grow top line. They said we have to increase another 1 million tons of fertilizer, and that's the first thing I rejected, not knowing the business. I said, one, let me understand it. Secondly, can we make more out of what we've got? See, that is when we went into backward integration. We bought a mine, for example, in Senegal. We had to so the thing is, if you didn't have your own mine, the problem is you're backward. If you're not backward integrated, you're not making money in the front end. So what's the point in me letting everybody make the money and not having it here? So now it's taken us nearly 4 years. We've got that right. Profitability is better. You can take Coromandel's balance sheet. Anybody can see the kind of thing in the last 4 years, what's happened in terms of the profitability. Now we are investing in the top line. Now this year I'm going to put up another 1 million tons. Okay, this year I'll put up 1 million tons, and this year, and then I'm looking at going to say, I want to be as large as IFCO. This is what my first thing was. I will be as large as IFCO, but I'll not be as large as IFCO without being as profitable or better profitability wise. So that's something which is, it's a personal choice that one has to do. See, if you don't run anything efficiently, and I'm telling you, this is my view, today technology gives you so much to actually do things efficiently. And if you feel that you've done everything to have efficiency in place, efficiency, backward integration, you're buying things right, and your profitability has substantially gone up, then you see you've got more money in the pool to invest. So what I'm trying to say is, if you take Coromandel, the money generation is far better. So my appetite to take risk is also far greater. And that is, the shops are more, see, shops are literally being run like a pastime. it for somebody. Now I told them, unless you make money, then I can't expand. The minute I put the brake on that, they found ways. Now we got a new guy. So also I'm saying that, you know, putting right people in the right place, that's what I said. So what we did was we put a person who's more, I think who had more kind of the number background to run the place. So I had to take the person who's running it, put another person in, and he kind of changed the way they looked at the business of the store. And this is simple. It's not that end of the day we have to work on several things to finally get this profitability. It's not that you just raise prices and people are going to buy, because nobody's going to buy more than anybody else in the market, right? So it's not that if I can raise prices as easy as me raising prices, it's not going to happen. So the thing is, I had to change tact. And in fact, if you talk, and that's a kind of a study on its own, how they've kind of gone into crops, how they've now made some stores for certain crops at certain time, and how, you know, farmers approach, the way they change their the way they change their thinking to make this kind of returns. So that is something. It's not that you can just charge any kind of money to make this margin. You do things differently, do things efficiently, and the tech which helped them finally. Right from, you know, today they've got things that you can order. Like today, farmers today can order things online and get it. Right? Government has still not given permission for fertilizer, but all other than fertilizer, they give permission, we are able to deliver to them. I think slowly government will give permission for fertilizer because we are a highly controlled industry. So once the government gives permission, we'll be able to take that also to them. And from the crop cycle, right from sowing stage to harvesting stage, there's so much of it we were not involved with. Now how we got involved with. So that is on that side. So what I am saying is we can grow top line. See, top line top line will also take costs. You can operate the same way. As long as you feel that you actually, you know, you've leveled out on the operating model, which means your operating model is so efficient that it cannot be efficient anymore. That is when I would say that you should clearly look at, because if you've got a reasonably sized business, right, a reasonably sized business, if you don't have business at all, I'll say, but when you have a reasonably sized business, first look at it and then do. That's what I would. This is something which has seemed to have worked. Now we hope that it will go on.
I have a question.
See, when you took over CG Power, no, as you mentioned, it was not in a good shape, and you have completely changed the structure of CG. But there was a confusion, especially on the brand. No, see, for example, Crompton and CG. How did you manage? Because the sharing a brand, always it's a problem, and many of us are, not only in Coimbatore, all over India, we have that brand issue. No, so how did you manage to overcome that? Both Crompton and CG. That's one. And number two, you have mentioned about you are one of the top 3 in fertilizers. As far as I know, fertilizer means it's mainly a sort of subsidy type of business where that IFCO controls almost all fertilizer business. So how are you able to compete with people like IFCO and still manage to run it profitably?
One thing, I don't run CG, but I can give you what we heard from people who run CG, is that you're completely right. When this whole thing was happening, they gave away the consumer goods business to somebody else, and the industrial goods business, the industrial business came to CG. So that went in the name of Crompton, and this retained CG as the brand name. But I think, even today, you see the products are so diverse. But I'm told, the person who was heading CG was talking to him. He said the interesting part is they finally made these fans and things in CG Power itself, and that is flying off the shelf also. So that's they don't have. I don't think they've got capacity to take care of that. I don't think they thought that they'll have the capacity. So their branding is CG, and they are branding it as Crompton Dreams, is what I heard. So that is as far as that is concerned. Totally different product. One is consumer good and one is industrial good. And industrial good, I think the industry people just wanted that. I think when they knew that CG taken over by Murugappa Group, there is some kind of stability there. People came back with what I was told. Again, I have not run the business directly. It's again what I heard from the people who ran CG directly for the turnaround. So to take no credit from them, because I have not done anything, but they seem to have done a very good job in turning around the company. As far as fertilizer is concerned, you're right, it's a very controlled industry. So there are two kinds of fertilizer. One is urea and one is complex fertilizers. We are not there in urea, we are in complex fertilizers. Some amount of DAP and then mostly in complex fertilizers. And in complex fertilizers, what you have to do is, see, a farmer won't change just like that. And that is something we've seen. And if he changes, it has to be for a very good reason. We have been established, our market mainly is Andhra, Telangana. The combined Andhra, Telangana. And Andhra, Telangana is a very key market for production of any, both if you look at even fruits and vegetables, or you look at pulses, or even amount of paddy, they are one of the highest growers. So once you are in those markets, you kind of are quite large. We had sometime there was Nagarjuna there who was kind of doing urea, and then they of course had mismanagement. That's again I come back to some amount of mismanagement happened, and they Nagarjuna went out of the scheme of things, and then of course Coromandel became a solid brand in the in that belt, and of course we've got a very good brand in Orissa, very good brand in kind of. Now, if a company like IFCO wants to come or anybody wants to come into these markets, there are two things. One is, government subsidizes yes some amount of the freight also, but you can't take it anywhere you want. They tell you also the kind of markets that you can kind of sell to. And the other problem is also just bringing this by freight, so much bulk by freight from their plants is really not going to work in these regions. And the farmer also, but having said that, we've seen like the same products that we do is done by FACB in Cochin, and they sometimes bring it into our markets, try to give it 100 rupees less, but and that is a lot for a farmer. Giving one bag, say 50 rupees less is very big for a farmer, but farmer won't touch it because one, if he knows this is bread and butter, and if he's used this for years and decades, it's very difficult for him to also change suddenly. And for that, it's not that the company doesn't do anything. The company needs, we've got something like 2,000 agronomists in the market today. And they are advising on different, see, not all of them are using the same fertilizer. So these kind of people, we have a lot of workshops, the kind of farmer workshops that we have per day with number of farmers that we directly connect with. Number of farmers that are shops, these 800,000 shops, they service nearly 30 lakh farmers. Other than that, we supply to several more farmers, and they are people that we regularly interact with. There's a lot of amount of work that we have to do to them, because see, if with your stuff, if that crop fails, he will never use your stuff again because it is life and death for him. So that is something that, and okay, the good thing is government has got huge amount of control in terms of the FCO, which is the Fertilizer Control Order. So they take care of a lot of the, the fertilizer has to be sanctioned by the FCO. Only then you can sell fertilizer. So everybody has the same thing, but still you work with farmers, see how you can get better fertilizers, and the confidence that you would instill, finally the farmer has to buy. So that you'll have to work on that a lot. Only then you can keep, and then you can keep anybody out. I mean, if for anybody will not be able to come because, and same way, even for us to go into their market suddenly is not something that can happen easily.
It's very encouraging to hear that a lot of people are coming back into farming. Our concern has been that people are going away from farming because there's hardly anything left for the farmer. And how do you say that? Can you, in fact, from the Indian Chamber of Commerce, Coimbatore, we have been trying to give a lot of thrust to farming, trying to encourage more farmers to, more industrialists to take up farming. A lot of land, rich agricultural land is getting converted into real estate. So how do you say that there are a lot of people coming into farming? That's very encouraging to hear that.
Actually, the thing is, if you really see where we see it from is because you today kind of see the kind of people who finally come to the stores and kind of start discussing. Earlier, you find the farmers, and even when we go for these events, we used to see older farmers. Today, we are seeing the youngsters come. See, the thing is today they're able to get, there are so many things that have taken, more crop per drop. Is one of the themes that thing. So, one is water saving, and how can I get more crop? Secondly, kind of see the kind of AI that people are working with. These kids today are working with things to see how much more. See today, one thing you see is that even if an acre of land can say yield you X amount, and with the kind of interventions that they are able to do, if it can go, 1.5x or 2x, that actually encourages them to come back to farming. And if you really see it, what is also happening is that the kind of tools that they're using, what do you call that, Yanmar? What do they do?
Harvesters and
No, not only harvesters, the entire agri implements that are coming in today. See, earlier it was a lot of physical work. You see, so that is something which is happening. Earlier, even to spray, right? Farmer had to take this, and I was in fact in North India. I was there, and we were talking to these guys and said, it's actually amazing. They say that it's so cold in the winters, and they still have to use their hand and thing and do. But today, drone spraying, for example, has come in. So many things have come to ease the kind of requirements that the farmer needs to do. And if the youngsters see their parents and all kind of doing the kind of hard toil, which today, for example, what's happening is that if you really see these implements are helping, so our stores if you see in those areas, there's a guy who does, because his area, because the farmer's area is just 1.5 acres, he can't afford a lot of these implements, but people are renting them out. Today the youngsters are willing to take it on rent, get more yields, things like that. But the thing is, it's an encouraging sign to see a lot of them come back, because if you really see it, earlier we thought, they all want to go to cities, all want to do tech jobs. And we were talking, even when we met, in Andhra recently, we met the new minister, that's Lokesh. He was also talking about, he said, look, while I agree that a lot of people are wanting to move to cities, wanting to do IT, can we do so much? And the government of Andhra Pradesh actually, in fact, we are doing some work with them to see if we can actually generate jobs. So there are tons of people without jobs, and that is the thing. So today he's saying, can we take, say, the Rayalaseema district, and Rayalaseema district, can we look at fruits and vegetables? So these are things which will get you much more value, and they see much more coming out of those than, say, paddy. He said, I don't want to be the paddy bowl of India. I want to see how I can, get these farmers and all to grow crops so that end of the day they get more returns. And if they see more returns, then they're willing to stay and do that. So it's a huge effort with government that we'll have to get this done actually. But that is the only way. But government has really, and I think governments like Andhra Pradesh have taken a key role to these things. Tamil Nadu, we are also very small in Tamil Nadu, but I think farming itself is a kind of a subject. And you see, if you look at it, you're right. A lot of the areas are being encroached upon by towns and cities, and good agricultural land which is going for that. But the other thing which they are doing is both the Pallavaram and the other project in Andhra and Telangana. They are saying, one of the secretaries was saying, we are trying to see whether they can do 3 crops per year against the 2 crops. Against Rabi and Kharif, can we introduce a 3rd crop? So if a 3rd crop can give them more money, can we do that? Actually, so there's a lot of work being done there, and I must confess that I don't know much on, because our concentration has been more on Andhra, Telangana and the like. So, but the amount of work that even government is doing there to initiate this is quite a bit in that bit at least.
In our chamber, 6 years back, we introduced a flagship agreement called Udvai Tare, and Manita ma'am was the president. This year we'll reach out to need some experts.
The Sikhi is also doing a program, Vinod Solomon, I don't know where he is. Vinod, come. He's doing an event in Trichy this year, Agri Summit in Trichy. So maybe you can join with, and we can do it together. I don't know, we can do it here or I don't know.
Yeah, we'll definitely look at it. Yeah, definitely we'll look at sharing resources. Next year, August, we just finished one even last August, 2 months back.
So anytime you want to.
Yeah. We'll reach out to you. I request Pradeep to propose the formal vote of thanks.
Respected President Shri Rajesh,
our Chief Guest, Mr. Arun Alagappan, Executive Chairman, Coromandel Industrial Limited, Chennai, my colleagues and past participants, members of the Governing Council, special invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to you all. I sincerely thank Mr. Arun Alagappan sir for being with us and sparing us his valuable time to meet us all today. Sir, your scope on agriculture is really eye-opening for us, and the word AI that you used in agricultural technology is really opening our eyes. And the second thing that you told was China plus one concept, and the MSMEs in Coimbatore is going to get benefited because of that. It's very good, sir. And the speech was really thought-provoking for all our members and honored by our participation. We always seek your advice and thank you for the support that you have extended for the Ulavai Talai team. We assure you that our chamber will continue to work with you and the Southern Chamber of Commerce and Industry for the mutual benefit of both our members. I once again thank our Chief Guest for his gracious presence and thank you once again for one and all. I once again request you to join for the dinner being hosted by our President, Shri Rajesh. Thank you. Thank you.